The recording.
All right, welcome everyone to the event. I am Priya Patra. I am the lead of the Women PowerUp Network. We also have our leads, Cecilia Boji, our Latin America lead, and we also have Priscilla, our social media lead. Cecilia, you want to say hello to everyone?
Yes, of course. Hello, good morning, good afternoon, good evening from wherever you are. We will have another amazing event today with our great speaker, Jaravi. Is a friend from me, so I am so happy to introduce her too. Thank you, Priya.
Thank you, Cecilia and Priscilla, our social media lead. Priscilla, you want to say hello to everyone?
Sure. Good morning from Brazil. I'm super excited to be here with you. I have great expectations for today's session. So enjoy.
Thank you, Priscilla. And we have Carla as well. She is the founder of Agile Spain, our community partner. Carla, you want to say hello to everyone?
Hi, as I mentioned before, it's amazing to be here again, and these events are really, really lovely. Thank you so much for co-hosting, for hosting them.
Thank
It's
you,
a
Carla.
pleasure
And
to
thank you.
support you.
Thank you, Carla, and thank you for joining the events every month and supporting us. Everyone, please say hello to each other and take the poll, thementi.com, the code 18632935, and let us know from where you have joined us today. I am going to highlight a few things before we get started. We are all here to celebrate women leadership. We are speaking all on our individual capacity. Our views expressed here do not in any way represent the organization that we work for. The meeting has been recorded. As you have already noticed, if you are uncomfortable in any way, please feel free to hop off. Else, you are welcome to join the celebration. But before we get started, we always remind us what our community is all about. Our community is known as Women Power Up Network. We are not a business, but a community with a purpose. We were incepted on January 26, 2020, and we have quite a few members across our LinkedIn groups, our Facebook groups, and WhatsApp groups as well. Our vision is to empower everyone with the right support and skill, and we hope someday we will transform the future. We truly believe being good enough is amazing, and you really do not need to be a expert to power each other up. When such good enough people come together, we power each other up, and that's why we say we power up, and together we rise. But before we move ahead, we would like to acknowledge all our partners, the community partners, that without whom this community would not been a success. And they are PMI Slovenia, PMI Buenos Aires, Argentina, PMO officers, IAPM, Agnostic Agile, Scrum Day London, Agile Spain, as we already heard from Carla, Peers Insight. Our technology partner is Smart Work AR, and their website is www.smartworkar.com. Cecilia will put on the chat window. Please do visit their site. They do pretty cool stuff with AR and VR. With this, I would like to sorry, something is happening. Yeah. With this, I would like to hand over the stage to Priscilla to talk about the theme of the year and our certain updates about our voluntary positions and the newsletters.
Thank you, Priya. Welcome again. Thanks for being with us. And before we start, I would like to share a bit about our theme of the year. which is Remarkable and Rising. Leadership's not a title, it is a journey, one of self-discovery, resilience, and transformation. Remarkable and Rising is more than just a theme, it is a movement. It is about recognizing our unique strengths, transcending limitations, and systematically evolving into the most powerful version of ourselves. This year, let us embrace bold aspirations, continuous learning, and unwavering self-belief. Let us support one another in breaking barriers, amplifying our voices, and stepping into the spaces where we truly belong. Together as a community of women who uplift and inspire each other, we will not just rise, we will redefine what it means to be remarkable. Every month, we publish the newsletter Empowered and share remarkable and rising stories and how we have evolved to be the leaders that we are today. You can subscribe. I will share a lot of links in the chat window. And if you are an author, we have a special invitation. You can also collaborate and submit your book using the Google form we are going to share at the chat window as well. Additionally, we will be organizing monthly events like this one we are doing today. And our next topic will be the rise of remarkable women. And this is going to be a special event because this is going to be our last event of the year. So please join us and celebrate. Finally, we also have a special invitation to collaborate with us on the Women PowerUp Network. We are inviting purpose-driven individuals like you, of all genders, not only women, to join our global community and help us power up through connection, creativity, and leadership. Currently, we have 2 positions available: social media champion and website design and development. Both roles are 100% remote, so if you are interested, please apply using the link we are going to share as well. So thank you so much, and over to you, Cecilia.
Thank you, Priscilla. And now let me introduce the facilitator of the day, Yaravi Cardoce. Yaravi specializes in empowering board owners and CEOs in strategic transformations and critical decisions and drive sustainable growth. Her focus is on unlocking the strategic potential of organizations and guiding their leaders to long-term success. In addition, it supports them in their transition to accelerate path of organizational, digital, and artificial intelligence transformation. She also led digital and people transformation programs, including digitalizations, automations, AI, big data, machine learning, citizen development, among others. In her role as Chief Digital Officer of Panama Canal, she designed and executed the digital and business transformation path of this organization. In 2023, she was elected Chief Digital Officer of the Year Latin America for her transformative role in the Panama Canal by the CEONet Ibero-America Network. In addition, she has been an affiliate of the PMI, Project Management Institute, for more than 15 years, president of the Panama chapter 2016 to 2018, and she is graduate of the PMI Global Masterclass in what was the year you graduated, Sharavi?
It was 2019. I graduated.
19.
And now everybody, everybody's counting now, like, okay, how many?
Yes. Okay. And she was candidate for the PMI Board of Directors in 2024, 2026. She was regional mentor in LATAM 2021 to 2024. Whoa. She's the founder of communities such as Agile Panama, Women in Agile, Data Science Community, Heart of Agile Panama, and is a jury member of the PMO of Global Awards. She was chosen the most inspiring women in 2017, and in 2022, she was recognized by the Worldwide Women Association for her professional career. She collaborated voluntarily as an advisor to the project office of the Archdiocese of Panama in YAD, Panama 2019, during the planning and execution of the event. She is co-author of the bestseller Female Leadership in Latin America, working together with Sharabi. It was a great job. And with this, I hand over the stage to Jarabi. Thank you, Jarabi, for being here.
And thanks, Ceci, and so happy to see so many friends here, and how how life and allow us to have these different opportunities, right? To learn from each other, to empower from each other. Long time no see you, Carla. Happy to see you as well. And having Nidia, Giselle, Nadia, Fatma, Caroline, everybody here. And I wanted it to. Some people ask me sometimes, "Hey, why do you, do those efforts with communities and you do so much volunteer work because you have a lot of work and you have a family and why do you that?" And I think the purpose for all, for all different leaders, as we're gonna see today, is to try to share with others with humility and also learn from each other constantly and mentor and support others in the rise. So that's why I believe I have so much affinity with this group, because we are all here because we want to support each other and we want to empower all of those, people that sometimes all of us at some point in our life, we needed it a little bit of support, a little bit, a little more, a lot, a less of support on understanding and seeing, our true potential. So with that, I appreciate very much the opportunity that I'm having here to share with you. Let me share my screen now. Hope you all can see it. Can you?
Yes.
Yes. Okay, let me put presentation mode here and let me start. And the one thing that I wanted it to, when I was talking to Priya and Priscilla and Ceci, was okay, how can we empower, our community, the community, and our leaders in this new era, right? That we have so many changes. We are seeing so many changes so fast in the world, and how this represents more than a threat, an opportunity for all of us. So the first part of this time that we're gonna be together is gonna be me trying to explain where this opportunity is and why we should take it on and lean on. And the second part, I think you're gonna like it a lot, I think, because we're gonna workshop and we're gonna do self-assessment, very simple document that team is gonna help me for you to download. If you cannot download it because you're not in your computer, you can download it if you're in a cell phone as well. I'll put it also in the screen so we can workshop a little bit on where we are, what things and actions can we take on, in the short and the midterm to evolve our leadership style, to be future proof and relevant. And we are going to discuss a lot. So be prepared to share. You don't have to turn on your screen if you don't want to, but we want to learn from each other here. That's the purpose of the community and this effort. So let's start. And if you're not connected in LinkedIn, I think we can connect. That's my QR code. My name is very different, so you will find me as Jarabi. And let's connect and be, together in this great community and be supportive on connecting experiences and learning from each other. So let me start this conversation by sharing this paradox, because we are hearing a lot about AI, a lot every day, all day, from the rise of LLMs, that is the chatbots and the large language models. I'm sure you use at least one of them, Gemini or OpenAI or, ChatGPT, Copilot, Grok, Claude, all of them, right? And that was, if you want to say, that's kind of the first the first era of public usingly constantly AI tools. We are now very fast accelerating to what we call the second era, that is agentic AI. And this is not a technical lecture, so I'm not gonna, I'm not gonna explain like in detail what is it, but if just to understand the potential, when you work with a chatbot, you tell this chatbot what you need, and it search and it gives you the answers. So it's like event by communication. And an agent of AI has the self power to take decisions by itself. It's like a bot on steroids or robot on steroids, right? It thinks for itself and learns from every outcome that comes from that interaction. So it's like having a partner or another coworker or another additional person that is taking decisions in the environment and learns from the environment. So this changes the scenario in a dramatic way. We're seeing, for example, in the left side, what that we're expecting, for 2024, there was no historical numbers like this ever on the investment on AI in the history, not in any technology, I have to say. So we are expecting for 2026 and so forth a growth, massive growth on investment in AI. And this is very not necessarily what we have been seeing, but more in agentic AI, what I just explained. And we're talking here about agriculture, biotech, arts, medicine, chemical, manufacturing, a lot of manufacturing, car building. We are talking about a massive inclusion of AIs. Most of you, or maybe some of you, if you use, I don't know, tools like famous tools like Salesforce or SAP or, ClickUp, any of those, you might start seeing that they have these agents that you can configure and start, working for you. That will go massively growing in the next 2 years. Now, this is an investment that is not necessarily only in the technical side. We are seeing a lot of need, and that's what we're going to be talking today, not only in the technical programming and techie side, but as well in leadership, sales, project management, program management, marketing, all around, the AI growth that we're seeing. And that's where we see the opportunity, because AI won't replace leaders. It will replace tasks that, for example, from old models of leadership like command, control, reviewing reports, checking on people, taking accountability of his task. That's going to be automated, and it's being automated more and more. But what we see here is not a gap. This gap is not a barrier. And what we are seeing, for example, right now, women represent 22% of AI professionals. Only 14% are senior executives in role of AI. And this is the greatest leadership opportunities of our lifetime, as I see it. And why is that? Because the skills that AI makes imperative to have in the organization, in the different, the universities, in the ONGs, so forth, are the ones that we have historically mastered. We're talking about leaders that we can argue about servant leaders or female style leaderships. I want to be very, very clear that I'm not talking about exclusively of females, because we have a lot of different genders that apply this style of leadership. And we are talking about the leadership that is focused on collaboration, on human-centric, agility, connection, adaptation, and networks. And this is the historically the better traits of female leaders all over the world. When the agile era started, or started to be more, more expanded, we started to see more and more different leaders understanding that the style of leadership that promotes collaboration infuses innovation, psychological safety, and infuses a speed of trust in the organization that allows organization to change. So that's why I'm seeing in many different Harvard Business Review, McKinsey, etc. I'm saying this is the greatest leadership opportunity of our times. So I'm excited about it. How about you? I hope you are. So a little history on how female participation in AI had changed over the years. The last 10 years, the representation of female leaders has grown 7%. The most important numbers here that I want to share with you is, for example, specifically in leadership roles has grown 12%, and that's more speed than ever before. And for example, in conferences like this or bigger, have risen 15%. And very important in faculty positions. That means training, teaching, and research, 22% of the rise of the women. If women leaders working on AI. If we see the private sector in the right side, we see IBM and Accenture leading the pack, 30 to 35% in most cases female workforce in AI roles. As you can see, this is a lot of this is a lot of people working in AI, but I don't want you to think that it's only tech people. And this is very important to understand. This is all type of roles working in AI, and 30%, for example, in IBM leading the pack, as I mentioned, and Accenture, growing the strong force. This doesn't mean that these are leadership positions, but there is a better chance, right? If we are into the workforce in these roles, that is a better chance for more leaders to rise, female leaders, or the ones that have the female leadership style. So it's a positive trend that we are seeing. And when I started it to talk to Priya and Priscilla and Ceci about this lecture, I told them that I started to see all of this all over my feed. And I'm sure it's not only the algorithm telling me to see this, because I'm very broad in my interest, but a lot of top 10 women in the world of AI, founders that are working with AI. I started to see from 1 year on so many different pictures like this and articles like this. And I started to research why is that? Because, I'm a curious person and a data person, as you might know, the ones that know me. So I saw that, for example, for 2025, female-led AI startup received 25 more funding than years before. And this is a very, very good opportunity for all of you there. And this female-led AI startup not necessarily are led by technical females. These are strong leaders, female leaders that are investing, in making and looking for investment to do things with AI like we never had before. By 2030, they say 40% of all AI jobs will be female, which is very good. And the graduate programs as well are reporting increases as the patent fillings, which is something that is very different and disrupting from previous years. The last 25 years, the patents that you feel when you are creating something new was like 70-30 male female, and now it's rising, and we are expecting a 30% creation of patents, which is very important as well, because intellectual property is what creates richness and what creates new things. So looks like, and the name of initially of a conference was "The Future is Female." Looks like it's a big opportunity, and it's rising very fast. So let's deep dive about what is it, this style of leadership that we are talking about. And I call it the math of leadership. So classic leadership, command and control, technical mastery, and traditional hard skill. For example, the market value of this transactional style of leadership is is going down rapidly, decreasing, because we are expecting many of the hard skills to be automated by AI. And this is not bad. This is good, because now the World Economic Forum is calling this the big reset. It's the big reset because now companies, organizations that are small in size, for example, that doesn't have that many employees, for example, with the help of AI, they can compete with larger global organizations and traditional markets that weren't available to, for example, emerging economies countries or companies that were smaller. So it's like a big reset, like all the paradigms on what makes you successful are changing, because the AI capabilities will help you to do things that you weren't able before unless you had, I don't know, 300 people. And this is a big reset and a big shift in the mindset of what means penetrating new markets, creating new markets, or growing in different markets. That's why there are so many, board of directors and CEOs thinking about, okay, how are we going to play here? Because the rules are new, and you have different competitions that you never thought that were going to be your competition. Take, for example, the case, we have a very famous case in Latin America and also in the UK of the fintech banks, for example, Revolut in the UK or New Bank in Latin America, that are very close, if not at the same level of traditional banks like Citibanks or, for example, the Scotland Bank. These are organizations that are smaller in size, very powerful, very agile, very digital, and that are competing with the traditional, let's say, banks. And in the banking industry, the disruption is massive in a good way. And for this type of organizations, and also traditional organizations that are moving forward to the AI era, well, the advantage isn't in your title anymore, and this is a difficult pill to swallow, but it's in your capacity to evolve and connect to be a future-proof, let's say, future-proof asset to the organization. If you can foster trust, collaboration, and very important, ethical discernment is essential to this new era with no precedent in history. So there is no book where you can go and see, what can be done, what cannot be done. There are many things that you have to discern and use discernment based on the experience, on the collaboration, based on trust and trusting your team. And this is becoming more and more strategic imperative. It's not anymore a nice to have. It's a must. So that's why we're calling this the big opportunity, because things like AI bias, lack of ethical direction, and so forth, you need strong, empathy-driven leaders to decide and work with their teams to decide it. So the rules are changing, and now it's our moment to redefine them. So I want to encourage all of you to be excited about this, and we, of course, gotta be prepared. So when I'm talking about collaboration, and from now on, I want to encourage you to do a little paradigm shift in your head. And when we are talking about teams, try to think about your human teams, or the people you work with, and the AI machine. From now on, you will have to consider that you have not only your, let's say, human team members, but also those tools that are part more and more of the operations and how they are going to behave with the changes, with the leadership, when you are doing a new thing. And that's a big paradigm shift for all of us. I fight with it every day. I fight with it every day, like, okay, I have to do this for this organization, whatever. And then, okay, I have to open my AI companion, right? And work with it and collaborate with it, because in that way, my Yaravi AI agent that I'm training will learn more and more from me. And that will be like a clone of me, and I can multiply my capabilities, right? It's a mindset that you have to work on in your head to be able to embrace this new era. And it is not funny in terms of, it's not like, oh, they do everything for me and I don't consider. No, it's a practice. So if we want to be in advantage and we want to raise our leadership, we gotta do that mindset shift. And in this relationship of human and the machine, there are three non-negotiables that are for humans and for leaders. The first is ethical discernment, the why we are doing this and what we should do. That cannot be automated because that's not a line of that's not mathematical. That's inherent to humans. The others are, of course, emotional intelligence, foster collaboration, empathy, motivation, and conflict resolutions. Those are things that are very essential from humans that cannot be replicated by AI. And the other one that sometimes is missing out is complex problem solving, the ones that don't belong to historical data, that you don't have historical data before, but gotta be solved. And you need the experience of the leaders, you need the collaboration from the team, you need to think about it, think tank, and that type of problem resolution. That is the one that AI can help you. They are part of the team. Okay, give me facts, but the final discernment is merely human. So this is where the great opportunity is. Well, the world is in our hands, in both hands, in the AI and the human imagination. And I love this image because I think it's very clear. Okay, AI can write the story, but only you can take people in a ride, right? AI helped me to build this presentation, but I'm putting my experience, I'm putting my emotions here and my empathy here to collaborate together. And that's the power of the should, what we should do, right? AI cannot do that for us. AI provides options, humans choose the value. Now our core job as leaders is to set the moral standard, the compass of human, and the strategic compass for the machine. Because a strategy is something that that AI can design, but only you can design as tell you the options, but only you can decide, or you and your team can decide. So we gotta collaborate. We can't crush AI. Okay, that is past due. Yeah, that's not gonna happen. Okay, the less intelligent AI you're gonna see is the one you're using today, because every day is getting more intelligent in terms of data, in terms of calculations, in terms of what the task that it can do. But in the other hand, it's growing and growing what collaborative leadership is doing for organizations. And as I mentioned before, is considered strategic, not a soft skill, very strategic. We're talking about the style, and I want to clarify this because my emotion is here. It's not being nice, because nice is a social way of behaving and it's good, but it's about being effective and kind. Kindness is when you are willing to, with empathy, with sometimes sacrifice as a servant leader, to help others thrive. And sometimes it involves difficult conversations. Sometimes it involves sacrifices. Sometimes it involves selecting. When you are selecting a strategy, you are, it's the game of what we are gonna do and what we are not gonna do. So kind doesn't mean nice. Kind mean being effective and understanding the empathy and the sacrifice and everything, take difficult decisions. And that's what we are talking about here, this style of leadership. If you see, for example, in the top, this is Ernest and Young data from 2023. Of course, when you have a strong collaboration, you can see better overall results, productivity, innovation, increase efficiency, right? That's kind of, we know it, but this is hard data on it. Now think about it that level of productivity when you have a strong collaboration, not only with your teams or your other peers in the organization or the rest of, the other universities or the other ONGs. This webinar is a proof of it, of the strong collaboration, many organizations collaborating together to make it happen. Now add to these numbers here, AI help, that will boost a lot if we incorporate it in a ethical and kind and effective way. So this is a little reflection for you for the inside now. You as leaders, and we all, in this era, as leaders, what we need to look inside of us. Well, the first thing is empowerment. When tasks are automated, leaders gotta empower their teams, including the AI. And the ones that are humans, that are the most of them, how you empower those teams to work and escalate the high value skills. And the other side, humility. As humans, as leaders, are we willing to unlearn and admit that in one hand, the machine might know more data? Of course. But in the other hand, we know the strategy and we know people, right? And that humility to unlearn that we are all, working every day with humility and saying, okay, what are the things that AI will do for us and what are the things that will not do for us, and how can I help my team to be stronger in those areas, right? And help them to reduce the anxiety, to reduce the not knowing how to, the knowledge, and reduce the uncertainty on this new era. And that's pretty much, for us to think and to think constantly. If some of you might ask if this material will be shared, I was talking with the team before that I'll put it in a PDF, and you can have it at all. And, let's continue contributing with these thoughts, because it's good to go back, sometimes and see it again. I remind myself sometimes, hey, you got to go and see your own presentation. So, this is kind of, and I want to credit here Soraya Espejo, the AI powered leader. They have a very nice newsletter, and I loved this design, and I'm using it more and more because we like maps. We like maps. We like to know, stages, and we are going to workshop a little bit on this. A workshop that I designed based on this ladder, but the first thing that I want to say is transformation is not a jump, it's a continuous work. So being a transformative leader, be a future ready leader, you never end. Sometimes if you start new in a new organization, sometimes you might feel that you're going back in the ladder, right? But then your strengths, and you gotta, you work it around it, you have done it before or not, or if your first time, trying to make a leadership statement or going in your leadership, right? The path is not steady and in one line. You go back and forth all the time. And my friends here, I'm sure they are doing like this, because we have been so many times in that path where you thought you were here and then you have to go back. But the thing is that in each time that you go back and you move forward in the transformation ladder, and it can be, I'm not talking about digital transformation, I'm talking about transformation of the organization, of the culture, of people, any type of moving forward to different scenarios. You, in that each of those cycles, you learn, and you learn more, and you become more powerful as a leader, right? Most leaders talk about transformation, but in this ladder, not necessarily all of the leaders are committed, and collaboration is key here. So if you see this ladder here, sort of, right? If you are in awareness stage, and we're gonna, as I mentioned, we're gonna workshop a little bit on it, but awareness stage is like we are here, right? We want to be aware what is happening, what things that do I have to improve, we have curiosity and we want to learn more and understand, how XY transformation, in this case AI, will help me to be a better leader or to be a better, more proactive and so forth. We all start there. We all start there in the awareness stage. And then you start, and this requires a lot of courage as a leader. Okay, let's pilot something. Let's try these new tools, at least in the area that I have influence. It might be myself. It might be my team, right? It can be my group where I participate. We can be champions of culture of continuous learning, for example, inside our area of influence. And when we have that mastered, we start to feel like we can help others, right? And we can expand our influence inside the organization to other teams, to other areas, right? And try to master and share with others what worked for you, or for you as an individual, and excels on agile change management, for example. And of course, we're talking about not agile as a tactic, but agile as a mindset, right? On trying and learning and evolve, and learning each time. And you continue moving forward until you are what we call a future ready leader that can transform culture, for example, and it works on a strategic level, even if you don't have the position, but you influence in the strategy on how to, in case of AI, how to use responsibly AI, for example, how to balance tech with ethics, with people, with people-centric innovation, and so forth. So it's sort of what we should expect to be growing up to be very relevant in this unprecedented opportunity. So with that, before we go to workshop this, and I wanted to know if anybody wants to contribute or something that you want me to explain, something that I spoke very fast and didn't got quite understood before we go to the workshop side of this time together. I don't see, let me see if we have comments or questions here in the chat, or if anybody wants to jump in and collaborate. We don't have questions. I cannot see the chat, Ceci and Priya, and Priscilla, so so you tell me.
What I shared, Jaravi, is that once a friend in a webinar told that we should treat AI solutions as stakeholders now.
Yeah.
Now I believe it makes a lot of sense. It's not only a tool, it's a partner, someone who we're working with. But I think it aligns with what you said.
Yeah, it's very different thinking, and it takes a while. I get at least for me, I'm an old lady, so it takes a while. But once you start to make that discipline to yourself, the same discipline that you use when you were learning to be an agile leader, or you were learning to be a marketing leader, or you learn to be a beacon in your community, for example, that same discipline that you apply to get that, it's time for all of us to start applying it to our leadership skills, to our team's skills, and we and it takes an effort, I have to say. But once you have the discipline, you will get there. And Priya, now I can see Priya raise the hand. Yes.
Yeah, and I like to think about AI as a team member because
Yes.
instead of a stakeholder, of course, because it is a collaboration between the AI and the human that is going to help us to achieve the success. So I would like to think as a project manager, how do I, when I work with people, I try to get the best out of people. So why not with AI? Think AI or the bot as your team member and ensure that you get the best out of it.
Absolutely. That's exactly the way to go. And you will start to see that that maybe sometimes your team members or your stakeholders might be a little, scared or anxious about it. But that's exactly why we leaders are there to help them understand, and we can understand the anxiety. We can understand that anxiety sometimes manifests in ways of objections, but not necessarily. For example, they are saying they are anxious or uncertainty. It manifests in different ways. Only us can understand that and what's behind it. Hey,
Yeah.
Carla.
Uh, well, well, it's really nice to see you, Iravi. As long time we don't see each other, and
Yeah.
amazing the content that you are sharing. I would like just to add and reinforce what you have already said, the investment that the companies are doing. I
Mm-hmm.
work in a scale up,
Mm-hmm.
and
Oh yeah.
all of us we had to take the foundations in AI, and we are motivated and we are almost push to use AI in our everyday work. So for me, it's like you already mentioned, some of you, that is like a member, a team member. I can't
Mm-hmm.
imagine write something or review something. Even I work a lot with dashboards and to highlight trends in dashboards, this kind of things without the support of AI. Even the article that I wrote for the Woman Power Up, I
Yes.
have my tone of voice in AI. I have
Uh-huh.
all my LinkedIn CV and other CV, and I put
Yes.
together and I ask it to AI to suggest what could I write related to the topic that it was, how remarkable I am. So it's amazing for me. It's day by day, but it was a huge investment from my company.
Absolutely, absolutely, and that is, and as you mentioned, Carla and and Priscilla, this is where we, we take this opportunity, and I encourage everybody here, to take this opportunity, not because of the techie side,
Hmm.
but because of the opportunity of leading the pack by example, because we are very equipped to foster collaboration, even with AI. And we know that as leaders, we know that we have that human centric way of leading and understanding others. So we have it and we foster it and we take the opportunity. Thank you, Carla. Oh yeah, scale up. Yeah, you guys gotta be AI all day. Love it. Um. So let's do a little workshop, shall
Excuse
we?
me, Gerard, we have a question here from
Yes.
Raquel.
Sorry.
I don't know
Yes.
if she wants to ask you, but it
Or
is, how
can
do
you
you
read
think?
it for me, Priscilla,
Sure,
please?
sure,
Because I cannot see the chat right now.
no problem. How you think is the better way to adapt to AI and explore it correctly?
Mm.
Is the question.
Well, yes. Well, what I think, I don't think is the only opinion. The first thing that I'm gonna say, because there are so many different opinions, and we are discovering so many things about AI still that is very raw and very new. But there are so many applications on, the best way to use it. And I think that if you are thinking on how to start with, because, the first steps, as Carla was saying, and Priya and Priscilla, start by yourself. I think it's difficult if your company is not like doing an investment for you to learn on AI, and it's not in the environment yet, but start by yourself, because I believe in leading by example. So start by yourself with very simple, and I have to say free tools. So you don't have to do an investment maybe in the tools. Take some trainings about it and how you can improve your work and measure that for you and see how it works, how it hallucinates, for example. If you are in a decision making position, then you, and as we are going to see in the workshop, then you can start thinking, if you make decisions in your company, for example, on investments, for example, on what tools you're going to use, and where strategy goes, that's a different story. And then you got to be thinking about what has AI embedded, what we have to learn, how our projections, for example, for headcount might change or not. Should we upskill our people? That's in the decision making arena. Start thinking about all these new paradigms that we are seeing. But starting by yourself, I believe, this is me, I believe is a good way to being able to help your team, and best way of using AI, being more productive yourself. Then you can imagine, how it can help, either the team or the company that you are in with more facts, because there are not so many, everything is changing dramatically all the time, and escalating all the time. And for example, Carla, that you're working in that environment, I'm sure that what you started to see in January is not the same today, and the year haven't ended yet. So it's a fast adaptation process. So start by yourself. That's my 2 cents there, Nadia, for you. All right. So let's do some exercise here. Ta-da-ta-ta. We are gonna share. If you don't have it already, we're gonna share it again. An Excel file, very simple file, with some questions there. It's called readiness test questions. Hope you all have it, and you can download it. If not, I will share in my screen, right? But if somebody cannot download it, or you are in the cell phone, I can share in my screen. And the scale is very simple. Answer very quickly. Don't overthink, right? We're gonna do. We're gonna give you some minutes on it. And the scale is 1 to 5, being 1 the less usual and 5 the more usual. And the self-assessment question. This is for you. This is for you to keep. This is for you to work on. We're gonna discuss it here, but this is for you to have it and continue. Review it if you want to. It's divided in 3: leading the evolution, learn and unlearn. The other part is the human compass, and the third part is agility and connection. It's very, very quick. So I'm gonna allow you to start answering these questions. Again, don't overthink that much, and try to make sure at the end it will give you a total. If you are not doing it, if you're doing it manually, then you just have to sum vertically, the numbers. So let me put it in my screen as well. Can you hear the music? No.
No.
Let's take some minutes here. 7 minutes. You can see it, the screen.
Yes.
Yes. In case you cannot download the file, use this area and do it in a paper. From 1 to 5. How are we?
Done.
Put us a hand there if you're done or you need 2 minutes more. Let me see, I can see the screen. Done.
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 Done. Looks like we are done or almost there. You have your totals there?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yes. Okay, good. Let me erase my board. Hey, I'm erasing my board now. Old school t-shirt. All right, so let's start. How are you feeling? Do you want to know? Okay, team. So this is the part where we are gonna, share and understand what those numbers mean. And if you wanna, share with each other, that would be awesome. Let me share with you the scoring. So if the total of your points it's between 9 and 20, the maturity stage of your leadership is called building the foundation. And this is when you are, and we are going to go one by one with specific actions for you. Okay, so don't be anxious about it. But just to explain a little bit, you are building the basic structure and stability of your organization or the place that you work with, on the people that you work with. This can mean that you are either starting in your leadership career or trying to start in your leadership career, or you moved from one area to another and you're starting to work and collaborate with these new teams or new tasks or new country. It can be, right? So if your points are between 21 and 35, it's called the stage of emerging adapter. This is when you as a leader, you have already done process optimizations, and you work already in the cultural shift of your area of influence, and you are ready to start influencing more in the rest of the organization or your country or your community. And from 36 to 45, then you have what we call future-proof leader, that you are fostering innovation and proactively going a little ahead and proactively promoting the evolution. So don't be anxious. Let's go one by one, okay? And let's go to if your score range is between 9 and 20. And this is called, as I mentioned, building the foundation. You gotta focus on this stage of your leadership path in what we call structural stability, right? It involves that you define like basic standards, sustainable core processes that gotta be clearly like documented, understood by the team, and consistently. Something that is very important is that you are trying, or you should try to consistently communicate the strategy and the vision, and how that strategy and vision, how your team and your task connect to that. That is kind of the building foundation stage. For example, of actions that you can exercise to continue building up your leadership capabilities to thrive in this AI era. For example, as Nadia was mentioning, right? What can I do? Well, you can start implementing, for example, consistent feedback loops, for example, in your team. That's something that is not costly, that can be a high leverage and can bring you a lot of vision on exactly how the team is evolving and so forth. And you can use AI to support this with very simple tools. You can also, for example, daily task, how to tie that to the strategic vision. That's something that you can work and remind to your team constantly, and exercise on feedbacking loop and thinking about that, how you are influencing, with your daily tasks, even though they are operational, but how that is tied to the overall vision of the organization. Those are exercises that you can start doing. If, for example, in the questions from 1 to 3, if you have a low score, let's say from 1 to 2, an exercise can be, what is the single more critical assumption that needs to be challenged? Because this is leading the evolution, right, in that part of the survey. So one of the things that you can do for yourself, like for self-reflection, you can start thinking about what you need to be, what you can and need to be challenged immediately to lead the evolution, to lead the pack. And for example, if you have from 4 to 6, ones or twos, that is the part of the human compass. You can also do what I call cultural exercise, and I call it this way. I'm sure somebody else created it, but I adopted it. Like hacks, right? Like in the next 30 days, what cultural practice can we implement consistently and can bring value to this team? So you can start working with that human compass of your surroundings and exercise. So is this useful? Anybody that is in this stage wants to share if something like this is resounding in your heads or making sense or doesn't make sense at all? And in sharing. Let me see. Let me see with courage. Yes. Maybe no, maybe we don't have anybody with this score, or yes, we have. We don't know, right? It's voluntary. All right. So not many feedback on this one, but keeping it up. And as I mentioned, sometimes you gotta go back to the basics, even though if you're a very developed leader, sometimes there are situations in life when you gotta go start and building the foundation in the environment you are. And if you evaluate yourself at that point in that specific situation, sometimes, in this case, sometimes with the eye, that is totally new, or that you are adapting it, you are maybe in this stage with that relationship, let's say. So it's important to keep it up and understand that you got to build those foundations. All right then, so let's see if your score is from 21 to 35. Put your hands in the if you are in this score range, your emoji like this. Yay. Yes, we have a couple. Oh, fine. All right. Ratio Priya, good. So this is the stage when you are in this particular situation, you are an emerging adapter, okay? And you are kind of in the middle of the sandwich. That's why it's an image of sitting here. So you already did process of optimization, for example, and cultural shift. You feel that you can you shift your mentality, maybe the one of your team, and you're willing to challenge assumptions and delegate authority for your team. You also had work in your in your current environment to adapt it to the new challenges, to AI or so on. It means that you or your team are in the adaptive mode, let's say, or the adaptive mindset, adopting change. So what can you do to continue evolving in your future-proof collaborative leadership style? Well, the first thing is, don't try to boil the ocean from today for tomorrow, but expand your influence. Like try to institutionalize the change mindset, the integrate of new tools of AI in the rest of the organization, what have worked for you, right? With the knowledge and the know-how that you and your team gain during this process, and you can try to shift the underlying culture and the behaviors to make it consistently, like the right behaviors are the default behaviors, as it says. So actions that this is kind of a general action, like expanding your influence to continue, your journey. Some, if your score is low in questions 7 to 9, you can do exercise as well. Like how can you can take any, this is an example of feedback velocity, but this is any change exercise, like how fast we can incorporate feedback from our customers, stakeholders, clients, executives, team members, and if that can move from weeks to days, for example. That's a good exercise that can be measured on change velocity, right? Other exercises, how can we improve, cross silo connection? How can I provide clarity in chaos? How can we change from reactive to creating the change? And these are exercises that you can start like doing within your team and with other partners, and collaborating with other areas to expand your leadership influence in the whole organization. So what do you think about these actions? Maybe the ones that are in this range, and can you share some, maybe an idea? Because these are ideas, right? There are more ideas that you can share with others.
I think the challenge is to prioritize, because as we have many solutions, many tools, it is evolving every day. I think it's necessary to understand our needs, not just adopting AI because everybody is
Yes,
doing it.
absolutely,
So
absolutely.
what are our real needs, and how can we address them with AI tools,
Yeah,
experimenting and so on?
the power of the why, right? And
Yes,
that's a very strong leadership trait that not everybody likes, but it's the power of the why. Why? What is the problem that we are gonna solve? And if you are in an emerging state, okay, what is it that I wanna start adopting, and what is gonna do for me? The power of the why is so strong that there are some organizations where it's difficult to question, the why. But that's the courage of the leader. Like, okay, sounds fantastic, but why are we doing this? Not easy, not easy. Priya,
Yeah. So, people like me who work in consulting organization, we
absolutely.
are tied up with, different, the way customers are working, right? And that's where the challenge comes in, where, the trust over control, right? um, that's where I have scored little low, because the challenge is that I have to get things done as per the customer's schedule,
Yes,
right?
schedule
So
or scope. Yeah,
yeah, so in that case, although I might trust, but I'm always in an anxiety to ensure that I meet the timelines, the deadlines, the scope, or whatever, right? And that's where,
absolutely.
uh, you know, uh, we little fall behind, or become a little more controlling than, trusting
Yes.
people and leaving it, yeah, to them.
Yes, absolutely. And it's a difficult balance, right? Because you want to improve things internally in your processes, but you have this deadline, you have the scope, you have to deliver. So that balancing act, when because, being there as well, in that balancing act, sometimes we don't have the time to
Yeah,
kind of
yeah, yeah. To
prioritize improvements, right? Internal
correct.
improvements.
Correct, correct.
Yes,
And
it's
that also ties back to the feedback velocity, because I really don't have the time to ensure that I keep on doing continuous feedback, right? So that's where also I have scored a little low. Rest, I think, yeah, as per me, I'm doing okay. Like I'm willing to learn or learn.
yes,
I'm willing to have more focus on human centric leadership. Um, Adaptability, yes, there also, but these two areas in adaptability, like a feedback velocity and bringing in more about, trust over control, is where, I need to do better.
yeah. And what my recommendation there, because I feel you, I hear you, and I know. reduce it to little nuggets, because many of us, and I am the number one perfectionist in the world, that massacre myself because I want everything to be perfect. And sometimes in that aspiration of doing it like right and well, we take too much. And that's why we are here, because if we listen to each other and we have a powerful network, this that I'm saying, I have an accountability friend that when I'm overwhelmed, I talk to her and she reminds me, you are trying to do the perfect thing. Okay. Slices, because we forget in the day to day. So that's why it's so important, the power of community, because sometimes you come to a space like this and you get reminded that, hey, I can do a little thing that not necessarily change the whole ocean, but it might make a change for me or for my team or so forth. And we need to be reminded of that. That's why the power of community is so important. And that's why these spaces are important, because we forget. We forget. I hear you completely.
And I like your accountability friend. I wish I had one.
Wow. I can be yours or you can be mine. Yeah. So for myself, yeah.
Sure.
It's different than mentoring, because mentoring and coaching has a different purpose, which is very relevant too. Have mentors and coaches and so forth. But accountability partner is somebody that reminds you of something that you forget. And doesn't have to be an expert or experienced person, but you ask that person to remind to slice in little places and do more little things, and don't go to the whole perfect thing. So that helped me a lot in so many different situations, because I'm so I like it. I love whenever to see the big picture, and sometimes you cannot influence the big picture. Okay, it's a date, Priya. We're done. You're doomed. Now with me.
I want to be with you.
Okay, let's do this.
Let's go.
Let's get so many accountability partners, and you help me. I'll let you help me with this too. Okay.
Thank you.
Good.
I'm taking notes here.
Yes.
I'm taking notes.
Remind me, Yarabi.
Yes.
Yarabi, tomorrow the ocean. Okay. Now, if you are in this range that is from 36 to 40 to 45, we call it a future-proof leader. It doesn't mean that you know it all. It means that you consistently has mastered the ability of systematically applying collaborative and human-centric adaptability across the organization, and you influence from the strategic side, right? That you have that leverage. And this can be also not only a condition of the leader itself, but also the organization itself, right? Like it's a combination on your leadership style and the capabilities or the opportunities that you have in your organization. Maybe when you said that why, it resonated well and help you to have more influence in the organization. And empathy and trust are part of the connections of this level of maturity of leaders. You are not surviving the change, but you are actively changing and creating the conditions for thrive on uncertainty. And most importantly, you are looking ahead. You constantly have the space to look ahead and see what's coming next for the organization, and have the capability to influence. Carla.
Just to share that for me was exactly 36 in the limits from both.
There you go.
And I was just thinking about that, in my opinion, the context that you are
is very important.
Sometimes support you to achieve easier than another context, because some of the questions that I put a higher number, I'm pretty sure in my previous companies or experience probably would not. I can give an example. For example, the feedback velocity I didn't put a number so high, but it's something that is promoting the company. And we have one-on-one with our peers when we
Perfect.
ask for feedback.
Yes.
And we teach the team to do it the same. So this boost, let's say, the leadership style because it's part of the culture
Yes.
of the company, you know.
It,
But
yeah.
one thing that surprised me, that it was my lower score, was about ethical disruption. Because of course that we think about ethical. I have written an article related to authenticity in AI. But when we are adopting tools, usually what we discuss that is a pretty similar, but is not directly discussion about ethical, is behaviors that we want to promote and avoid with a new tool. But not necessarily we are explicit in terms of let's think about ethical things related to this tool, technology, or whatever. But we discuss behaviors expected to avoid and track. You know.
Well, that is what you're saying is very significant because even though you can have the skills very mature and very developed, if the environment is not fostering, or not helping you to thrive, then sometimes it's decision time and sometimes is thinking out loud on how you can influence more, or if you can have an internal mentor or internal coach that is at that scale of influence that can help you walk your path into the organization. But yes, it depends. It has a big dependency on the environment and the culture of the company. And as you were mentioned, you look here, exactly what you just said. We are so aligned. Things that what is forward thinking for this type of leader is, for example, thinking about how we are going to ethically adopt practices in our company. That is something forward thinking because there's no path there. You got to create it inside yourself. So you got to have a lot of influence in the rest of the organization to start something like that. And also the most important message that I want to leave in this layer. And of course you can be a future proof leader, for example, in your community. Not necessarily gotta be in your job, but maybe in your organization, in your community, in your church, in the other areas of your life, because the work is not all over life, right? We're complete human beings. You are a future proof leader. And there you can exercise, for example, things like let's think how we're gonna ethically move forward with AI. Or you can think about, how can we help other emerging adapters, leaders? How can we start mentorship? That is something that we can do in communities, right? And how you can mentor others, how you can foster emerging adapter leaders. How can you share what you know or what you have been through, or how can you reverse mentoring as well? How can you learn from emerging leaders new ways, new techniques, what they are thinking, what new generations are thinking? We senior millennials got a little lot from Gen Zs or emerging leaders. So that's the ecosystem that you build around this leadership that makes you stronger. And if the organization is not fostering that for you and you cannot do a dramatic change, try to find other communities or areas where you can exercise, when you can get mentoring, when you can mentor others, right? Don't stop because the environment is not unless it's risky, right? But don't stop because the environment is not fostering that, but try to find other areas. And that is why, again, I don't want to preach so much in the community power, but it's very important. And that's why, I invited many of people that I have worked with and we have been in other areas, because sometimes the organization is not there, but you have a good job and you like it there, but you need to continue developing. You can look for other areas. You can teach in the universities, in schools. There are other ways to exercise and force yourself. Maybe if you are maybe you can teach in schools voluntarily, for example, about the basics of AI, for example, and you got to learn yourself to teach others. So you are forcing yourself to do that, right? Those are the things that this type of spaces is a spark that I want to leave to you all in this conversation, because you got to take this development in your own hands, right? In some organizations, they will foster this for you, or you can make decisions about it. If you are not in that space, then you gotta make it by yourself. You trade one thing for another, right? Thanks, Carla, for that insight. That was fantastic insight. And just to close here, as we mentioned, I think I mentioned all of this. We are gonna share this document. This document in PDF, so it's not that heavy, but you can revisit, these actions and recommendations, and you can add others. These are only examples that we discussed
Yes.
here, and it was a very, very rich conversation. I hope you liked the workshop.
Yep.
You
We
did?
loved it. Yeah.
Well, closing here, just 1 minute. This window is closing fast. So refuse to be in the footnote of this transformation, guys. Refuse to be in the footnote. Be in the top. Don't be afraid. And stop adapting to the future. Design it. The new wave of true AI leadership must and will be female. And this is a message from me. I'm a Gemini 2.5 clone, because I'm accredited it, as we should start doing if we're using AI, right? And Gemini 2.5 and Yarari had a great time putting this material together, and making sure that we rise and spark. This is the beginning of the evolution, and I want to thank you, and thank you guys for having me today in this wonderful morning, afternoon, lunchtime, and night. And of course, let's be connected together. Let's be accountability partners with each other. Join the community, the ones that are there, that if you like these contents. And of course, we are extended, community that you can find a lot of mentors or volunteer opportunities, or so forth. I'm follow in LinkedIn, and you will see the next activities. So thanks for having me today. It was wonderful.
Thank you.
You.
Thank you,
Thank
Jaravi.
you, Jaravi.
I will take your share
Thank
now.
you.
Don't go, please don't go, team.
Don't go,
Don't
team.
go. I'm taking your share now. And over to you, Cecilia, to felicitate Jaravi.
Oh.
Yes, yes, Jaravi
Oh.
received this certificate of appreciation for your wonderful workshop and presentation. It was really very, very, very useful for us. So thank you very much.
Oh,
Yeah.
I'm so excited. I'm so honored, because this is a
And
powerful group. Thank you.
You're welcome. You deserve it.
and everyone, please let us know what you think about the event. And we will be back again next month with some remarkable stories. That will be the closure event of the year. Please watch our social media handles for more. With this, we will stop the recording, but please don't go. We have to take a group picture.